Knockout's a good word for them because that's what they'll do to you if you get in the way. Uh, it's always been the knockouts in the X division have always been a staple of the original TNA, which morphed into Impact, and just a major draw for the company. And the women are second to none in our company, and I've been on the receiving end of a couple of Jordan Grace matches, and man, they don't mess around. You know what I mean? They get in.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Of course, the Salt Shakers are here. We welcome Johnny Swinger to the Shakers Den. Oh my goodness. What a pleasure. How are you doing, Mr. Swinger?
Awesome. Great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, I'm not alone. I have my tag team partner, Santana, here as well. Santana, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I mean, it's the hump day. It's Wednesday. Yeah. I mean, we're in the middle of the week before the weekend gets here.
That is true. And, of course, it's the weekend, close to the weekend. So we're not going to keep Mr. Swinger too long, but we want to know, you've had such an intensive and long career. So talk about your journey as a wrestler and your most rewarding moment specifically in Impact Wrestling.
Well, as you know, I was with the original TNA, about 20 years ago now it's been. And that was a great time in my career with Simon Diamond. We had just come off the ECW run, and ECW kind of ran out of time there, and we were able to pick up where we left off in TNA and become the tag team champions. So that was a real special time. But fast forwarding all the way to 2019, when I came back as the swing man, so to speak, and the last almost 4 years of that, without a doubt, the best time I've ever had. And I wish we would have tapped into it sooner, because it's just been so much fun. And look forward to going to every Impact TV shoot and see what they have for me next.
I mean, we know with TNA and Impact, you guys are very much known for like the Knockouts division. Like, I mean, one of the greatest divisions in women's wrestling history, with this being Women's Wrestling, Women's History Month in period general. Talk about the importance of the Knockouts division and its entirety in the company.
Knockout's a good word for them because that's what they'll do to you if you get in the way. It's always been, the knockouts in the X division have always been a staple of the original TNA, which morphed into Impact, and just a major draw for the company. And the women are second to none in our company. And I've been on the receiving end of a couple of Jordan Grace matches, and man, they don't mess around. You know what I mean? They get in there and they mix it up, and they work hard, and they're great attractions for the company, and that's what the people want to see. So that's what we give them. And I'm glad to just kind of be, the parsley on the side of the plate of all that great X division and knockouts action.
Absolutely. And speaking of the X division, who would you say is the toughest competitor in the X division as we speak?
It's hard to pick one because, you know what I mean, between Trey, the X division champion, and Swan and Ace Austin and Laredo Kid, and the list goes on and on. I mean, these guys are just unbelievable competitors. And I've had a chance to Speedball Bailey. Man, this guy just came out of nowhere like a whirlwind, and is one of the top talents in our sport. And I'm just blown away by what these guys can do. I mean, they got to be tough to be able to pull off those unbelievable moves and get up and walk the next day or the next week or whatever. I'm impressed with them, and I think it's they're leading the way into the new era of wrestling. And I'm glad that like Buff Bagwell used to say to me, he goes, we're hanging on the wing, Daddy. We're going to go along for the ride and just enjoy it. And have a good time. That's what we got in this for. And, the money's secondary. The money will come eventually, but it's all about having fun, man. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I want to continue to do.
I agree. I mean, you seem to have a lot of fun. Watch you on Impact doing a lot of crazy things. You work with Ziggy Dice, and you now starting to do things with like Santina Morella and
Oh,
Dirty Dango backstage. And I mean, like it's so entertaining and fun to watch. We've been to some of the Impact shows to see you in person. You know, out there with Ziggy Dice, all this and that. So with this being Women's Wrestling Talk, we do like, we love the women here. We love the knockouts. We did see Ziggy Dice, I think, actually challenged for the knockouts with world champion against Jordan Grace that time, which was so random. But a lot of people always say that Jordan is one of the toughest knockouts. But in your opinion, who do you think is the toughest knockout?
Well, it's going to be hard to surpass her, but Mickey
Mhm.
James is an enduring athlete. I mean, my gosh, you're talking about a Hall of Fame woman wrestler here that's still at the top of the sport, being, you know what I mean, just championship material. She and Jordan and Taya and all these girls are there's no sandbag on the roster. They're all viable talents, and any given night can walk out of there as the champion, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to see the competitiveness, and they get the job done, and it's impressive. And I think it's a major attraction for the promotion.
Absolutely. And you talked about it before. You've been around, if not since the beginning of the knockouts, you've seen multiple knockouts come in and out of this division. So, who would you say is the greatest knockout of all time?
Man, like I said, once again, that's hard to say because so many people would fit that description. Gail Kim comes to mind, who was someone that came out of the same area that I did, beginning in wrestling in Toronto, Canada. And I've watched her career from the beginning all the way to where she's at now, is in talent relations role with Impact. But I think she could still get out there and mix it up. You know what I mean? I think she's not wrestling because she doesn't want to. I think she very well could be getting there with the likes of Mickey and Jordan, and make some unbelievable matches that would draw big crowds and a lot of interest.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have been trying to get Gail Kim out of retirement on multiple occasions. So speaking of, like, we know Gail Kim's like 7-time like knockouts world champion, and you're no stranger to gold, and things like that either. But when do you think we'll get some gold around your waist?
I
You
don't know.
know.
I'm pretty happy with the green.
Mhm.
The green's my favorite. I like to fill the fanny pack full of
Mhm.
greenbacks. So it's like having money around your waist anyway.
Mhm.
So I don't sweat it too much. I'm just happy to be there and be a part of this tremendous promotion, and we're really gaining steam overseas and even domestically. And now we're back. Canada's opened up again, so I think that's going to be huge for us exposure wise. And I'm on a quest to get 50 wins to get my first chance at the singles world championship. And
Mhm.
between me and Zicky, we're going to find a way to get it done.
Now,
Not making any guarantees, but I think we always find a way. There's always some angle we can work, and
Yeah.
like you said, I'm gonna find my way around San Martino Morella there, and we're gonna get the job done, Daddy.
where you bring up a couple, so I have to ask, what are some of the preparation techniques that you are getting, and that you've used over the years to get in the ring with so many different legends?
Well, Rhino's got a tremendous spray tan. That's one of my preparations right there. You got to look good on TV, Daddy. And but no, it's my MO has been the same over the years. It's always been. I always train hard. Always got to be ready. Even if you're off, you never know when your chance going to come. So you always got to be ready. And it's one of the secrets to my success. I've always kept my body tight and strong. That way it staves off injuries, because you can't, if you're out injured, you can't get it done. You know what I mean? So you got to train your body and stay in shape, and your cardio's got to be in, man. TV is no joke. It's as real as it gets out there. And if you're not ready, somebody else will be there to take your spot.
That's very true, and you don't want nobody to take your spot at all whatsoever, especially you trying to get your first win and
That's right.
everything. Your 50
I
wins, you
think
don't
once
want
I
that to
get
happen.
that first one, they'll all fall in line.
Yeah. So Impact is very much known for intergender matches. Of course, like it's brought up with Ziggy and Jordan and Matt Cardona. Um, Mickey recently with Tommy Dreamer against the Good Hands, or should I say the Bad Hands, because they lost on multiple occasions. If you ever had a chance to, or would you ever get into the ring with a knockout, and who would it be?
I don't know. I might want to slide Zicky Dice in the middle there and let him take the physical abuse, and maybe I'll just scout from ringside. Might be, yeah. I don't know if I want to mess with too many of them. Like I said, I actually wrestled Jordan Grace a couple years ago, and you know, she put the wood to me a little bit there. So, yeah, they don't mess around out there, and you know, so I would just maybe watch my P's and Q's, so to speak, and try to chase those 50 wins against male competitors. I probably have a better shot.
Speaking of those male competitors, do you have your eyes on Josh Alexander, or do you have your eyes on Trey Miguel, or even with Ziggy Dice teaming up and going after those tag team titles?
Yeah, definitely. Me and Zicky, I think we formed a pretty good tag team. We've had some good success over the last year. That we've been together almost a year now, and it's a lot of fun. And we got to wrestle the Good Brothers, a lot of teams that have come and gone, and man, we're still around there, and it's going pretty good. And but yeah, you never know. And Zicky could be a contender for the X Division title as well. You know what I mean? So just you got to stay tuned and see where it all plays out. And we're just like the fans. We look forward to seeing how everything progresses.
And speaking of that, though, like, do talk about like your relationship with, you know, Ziggy Dice. You guys been together, working together for a year. You guys are very great to see on TV, very comical in various different ways. So talk about you guys, you know, relationships you have.
Well, you won't see me in Walmart dressed like this, but you will see Zicky Dice. He shows up without a bag. I mean, what you see him wearing on TV is what he wore through the airport and on his escapades, as I like to say, after the matches. And I love hearing about the stories the next day. He's the real deal. What you see is what you get. And he's a good guy. I like being with him. And he does a good job out there. He works his butt off. Tries to make the best match possible, and he's got a huge future ahead of him in this sport.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for your time, Johnny Swinger. Thank you for stopping by Women's Wrestling Talk. Of course, before we get out of here, let everyone know where they can find you, of course.
Well, I'm on that Twitter gimmick. It's Swinger_Johnny. Instagram, Johnny_Swinger. I'm also on Facebook. You won't offend me with cash. You're more than welcome to send cash to any of those, what do you call them, direct messages or whatever. Man, I'll send you a ring-worn bandana for $49.95, no tax. Last you a lifetime, won't fade, won't shrink. Yeah, guarantees, Daddy. That's what I'm all about.
That's right. Well, thank you again. Of course, you can find me and Santana on Twitter and Instagram, and of course follow Women's Wrestling Talk at Women's Wrestling Talk on all the social medias. And of course, this is Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.